Hello, we have recently surpassed the midway point in the minor league season, so I figured it'd be a good time to pause and offer up my Minnesota Twins mid-season minor league all-stars. It's kind of a mouthful. One little note, as with the rest of the channel, this is going to focus entirely on the full season leagues. We're not going to talk about the FCL Twins or the DSL Twins. We'll try to find a space to carve out to discuss those guys sometime soon. But again, this is only the full season guys. As you can see, here are my position players. The HM stands for honorable mentions. I figured I'd throw one out for each of the 4 full season affiliates. But something that struck me in putting this quote-unquote team together was how many of these guys play different positions than where I put them. Ricardo Olivar catches and plays left field. Junior Severino, first base. He also plays third base. Luke Keaschall also plays center field. Rubel Cespedes also plays some first base and a little bit of second base. Rain Doncone plays quite a bit of third base and some second base. And then all the outfielders play a little bit of everything. Matt Wallner plays right. Kersey plays right. Erod plays mostly center. But with Kersey penciled in there, I put him in right field. He does play a little bit of right field as well. Michael Helman, who is kind of just the de facto DH, the next guy I had to plug in. He's mostly played shortstop this year, but also some center field and some third base. We'll talk more about him in a sec, but he's played all over in his minor league career. Brandon Winokur, who I have in a utility spot, shortstop, center field, and third base. So these guys, I mean, there's multiple different ways you could line them up in this combination of players even, and still have it make sense. It's really striking about how a lot of these guys, not only the top performing players in the system right now, but have a ton of positional flexibility across the board there. But I'm also going to take a moment in this exercise to use this as a spotlight onto some guys that we don't talk about as much. Guys who are either not really on prospect lists or just guys that I haven't talked about a lot in the daily system recap videos. So if you're watching the system recap videos, you recognize a lot of these names. If you're not, you should start watching those. If you're interested in things like a Minnesota Twins mid-season minor league all-star list, you would like the system recap. So we're not gonna go over Emmanuel Rodriguez right now, right? Luke Keaschall, guys like that. I want to hone in on Michael Helman for a minute. Mentioned him and his positional flexibility. He has a 923 OPS. This season so far. These numbers that I put, I should call out these numbers, are up until yesterday, so they don't include yesterday's numbers. But in 173 career AAA games now, Michael Helman has been with St. Paul for quite a while. An 819 OPS over that span, 32 homers, 44 steals, 126 runs, and 107 RBI. So Michael Helman has been in AAA for a while. He has been productive for a while. 2018 11th round pick. He had a good pro debut, and then his first full pro season was pretty rough. Really fell flat. Then COVID happened. He kind of had to start his career all over again. He's had some injuries along the way too, but really has played really well for the Saints the last couple of years in particular. And again, you see there he's got a 381 OBP and a 543 slugging for them this year. Very impressive, just a consistent guy. Again, Michael Helman, a veteran in the system, been around for quite a while. Moving on over to the pitching staff. This is what I put together in terms of a 5-man rotation and then a right-handed and a left-handed reliever. Caleb Boushley's a guy that we haven't talked about a ton on the channel. He did pitch a game with the Twins this year, so if you recognize that name, even if you don't pay close attention to the minor leagues. But him being kind of a 30-year-old veteran guy who's in his first year in the system. Most nights, even when he pitches well, I find reason to gravitate to some of these other names that you're seeing here. The other guys in the rotation for this all-star team are Zebby Matthews, David Festa, Andrew Morris, and Ty Langenberg. Those first 3, probably no surprise there, but Ty Langenberg was the guy I've been trying to mention on a fairly regular basis, who I think might be kind of the next current pop-up pitching prospect taken late, guy they drafted out of Iowa. And I should mention, too, the team I have listed for all these guys is their current affiliate they're with. Ty Langenberg has spent most of the year with Fort Myers, but he's been recently promoted to Cedar Rapids. Anyway, back to Boushley. Again, you may recognize that name from him making an appearance with the Twins, but in AAA, across all of AAA, among qualified starters, he ranks 5th in ERA, 1st in WHIP, 1st in walk percentage, 2nd in FIP, and 4th in XFIP. So he doesn't strike out a ton of guys. You see there 7.8 Ks per 9. But still, the ERA predictors like FIP and XFIP really like him too. Again, 5th in ERA, 2nd in FIP, 4th in XFIP. 1st in WHIP, 1st in walk percentage. So Caleb Boushley, AAA is a really challenging environment right now with the automated strike zone is not helping with that. That's making things challenging. So, that's part of it. I also think just some of the bats are in front of some of the arms right now in AAA for whatever reason. Of course, in the PCL, that's just a very offensive, heavy, that's always been just for the literal environment out there. So, but either way, however you want to cut it up, Caleb Boushley's been excellent, one of the best pitchers in AAA, 30-year-old veteran, minor leaguer, again, made an appearance with the Twins this year. So I wanted to shout him out because we don't talk about him a ton. And then the relievers. I don't talk hardly at all about the relievers in the system recaps. But Ricardo, Velez, and Gabriel Yanez, both from Cedar Rapids, having really strong seasons. Again, these numbers are from entering Sunday. Unfortunately, Velez gave up some runs yesterday, so his numbers are a little bit worse than you're seeing here. But Ricardo Velez, right-hander out of Puerto Rico, who the Twins originally acquired, I believe, from an indie league in the States. But he's pitched pretty well as the kind of main closer for Cedar Rapids. Minor league bullpens are kind of funny. You get a lot of guys throwing multiple innings, which Velez does. You kind of get, with that, it's kind of hard to have like a set closer. Guys kind of are on more of a schedule, and it's a little less managed, by game situation, but, he's kind of their top guy in that bullpen. And then the lefty, Gabriel Yanez, also of Cedar Rapids, pitching very, a sub-1 ERA. Pretty impressive out of him. He's originally from Venezuela, was with the Phillies organization for a while before the Twins signed him. Velez is 25, and Yanez is 24, about to turn 25. So I'm kind of hoping, obviously these guys are helping in Cedar Rapids, but it'd be nice to see for their sake promotions to Wichita at some point. I'm sure they'd like to move up. And then again, the honorable mentions there, one from each of the full season affiliates. I want to call out another guy, another reliever is Scott Blewett. Aaron Rozek is kind of hard to pin down, I guess, what his role. He throws as many innings as a starter, but he doesn't make many starts. He's kind of a long man. He makes some starts, but sub-3 ERA for Aaron Rozek, and I think over 50 innings. This guy's a Minnesota product, went to MSU Mankato for college. And then, C.J. Culpepper, that's a familiar name from prospect lists. Spencer Bengard, you're talking about Ty Langenberg. That's another guy from last year's draft class. I think he was our 15th rounder. He's pitching excellent so far for Fort Myers. Just kind of didn't have the innings for me to put him on into my all-star list, my team here. So pretty short pitching staff that we went with, just 7 names, but that's it. So if you have any other questions about these guys or anybody else you want to shout out who's really had a great year for the Twins, I know a lot of you guys are digging deep, or even if you want to call out some FCL or DSL performances that have really impressed you as well, I'll certainly encourage that, even though I don't often dig that deep. Got to draw the line somewhere. If you want to, I'd love to read about them. So thanks for checking this one out. We'll talk again tomorrow.